We're going to go ahead and launch Microsoft Word. If you have it on your taskbar, you can just left click. Otherwise, if you're not sure where it's located, you can click on search and you can go ahead and key in Word. And you should see the desktop app display, and then you can just left click on that. And we are going to go into a blank document. And we're going to be creating a short letter. And before we get started, we're going to quick talk about what you're seeing in your window. We'll start in the upper left. This is a quick access toolbar. And we're going to be using it to save changes. You'll notice there's a couple arrows. Right now they are dimmed because we haven't done anything yet. But once we get started, this arrow that points to the left is going to allow us to undo mistakes. And there's an arrow next to that, which is a redo button. So if you accidentally undo something, you can reapply it. In the middle, it tells you what the name of your document is. And you're going to see document 1 until you save the document. And once you save it, then you will see whatever name you gave the document display on the title bar. Next to that, it just tells us that we're in the Word application. Over to the right, you should see your username. And next to that, we have our window manipulation buttons. Now, if you're curious about what this does, it lets you adjust whether the ribbon displays or not. Okay? I actually like to see my tabs and ribbons, so I tend not to go in there and mess around with that. If for some reason your tabs and ribbons have disappeared, then you are going to want to use this button so that you can bring them back. Below the title bar is our top level tabs. And these tabs always display in Microsoft Word. And the way that Microsoft Word organizes commands is it puts the commands on different ribbons. And you access those ribbons by clicking on the different tabs. Okay, so each tab contains commands that are organized on the ribbon. Now you'll notice at the very bottom of the ribbon, we have some text. And the text basically is identifying the group of commands. So here, this little section here is the paragraph group. And over here I have an arrange group. And if I go over to the home ribbon, you'll see there's a font group. Okay, so we've got commands located on a ribbon, and they're organized into groups. Now below your ribbon, you may or may not see a ruler. I like the ruler displayed because it tells me what my indentation settings are. It tells me if I have first line indentation on or not. Tells me what my right indent is, and the little gray areas on either side are my margins. So I actually like to have this on because it gives me some information when I'm looking at it. So if you would like to turn on your ruler, you can go into View and just put a little check mark next to Ruler. If you find the ruler annoying, you can remove the check mark. This is a very flexible program, so you can pretty much customize it to fit your needs. Now below the ruler, this is my actual document. And there are several different ways of looking at the document. And these different ways of looking at the document are called views. So right now, I am in Print Layout View. And I'm kind of pointing at the button here at the bottom. Other views would be read mode and web layout. In this class, we pretty much work in print layout most of the time. Next to the view button, we have our zoom, and this will make the text display larger or smaller, and this is for viewing purposes only. It has no effect on the size of the text that goes to the printer. So if you're typing and you're having some problems seeing the text, you can increase the zoom, and that will only affect the text that you see on your monitor. Then over on the far left, it tells us what page we're on. We haven't typed anything yet, but once we start typing, it'll actually tell us the number of words in addition to the page. And this entire bar that we're looking at that has the page number, the words, and all of our different views, that is called a status bar. So now that you know a little bit more about what you are looking at, we are going to go ahead and key in our first document. So we are going to start with our little title here. So it's Moments, Notice, Travel, Package. And then we're going to press the Enter key. And then we're going to key in first choice, Travel. Now, after first choice, Travel, we don't want it to double space. So instead of pressing Enter, which actually ends a paragraph, we are going to put in something called a line break. And to do this, we're going to press Shift. And with the Shift key pressed down, we're going to press Enter. And you'll notice right away that that did not double space. Okay, so we're actually not ending the paragraph. Okay, a line break, the text is still part of the same paragraph. It's just on the next line. So we're going to go ahead and key in Los Angeles Office. Okay, and after Los Angeles Office, that is the end of the paragraph. So you're going to go ahead and press Enter at that point because we're going to start a new paragraph. And I'll purposefully misspell something just in case this happens to some of you. Not that you would misspell, but you'll notice that I misspelled spontaneous and now I look at it and it's correct. That happens quite often. Now, the next word they actually want us to misspell, and I'm going to do a space and you will see it correct. Okay, this happens a lot in Word because they have a feature called Autocorrect. And what Autocorrect does is it's got a whole list of typos, and then it's got a list of corrections that it will make. And most of the time, it's great, okay, because you go back to change something and it's already fixed. So if you do misspell a word that isn't in autocorrect, let me see if I can get one here. Then what happens is you get a red wavy line. So this misspelled word is not in the autocorrect. So if that happens to you, you can right click and see if the correct spelling is there. Now it looks like I just so badly butchered this that I'm going to have to manually fix it. Now once the word is correct, that little red squiggly line goes away. So any red squiggly lines that you see are misspelled words that you're going to need to correct. And normally I don't really look for those until I'm done typing, because it kind of slows your progress if you're trying to fix spelling while you're typing. So when you're doing this, you can go ahead and type the words as shown, because all of the misspelled words that they have should be fixed in autocorrect. Then any additional words that you see that have little red squiggles under them are words that you are going to need to manually fix. I'm going to misspell this one on purpose too here. Yep, it looks like it fixed it. Let me try misspelling that one. Fix that one too. Tell you, that autocorrect is pretty smart. Fix that one too. Okay, let me see if I can actually do one that it doesn't catch. Okay, so at the end, as you can see, autocorrect is going to correct a lot of your typos. However, at the end, if you see something that has the red squiggle, you're going to want to right click and see if the correct word is there. And if it is, you can just left click on the correction and it will fix it for you. Okay, if the correction isn't there, then you're just going to have to manually fix it. And you can click in the word, use your arrow keys to move. The delete key will delete the character to the right. Okay, and then you can just type and it will insert the letter for you. Now at this point, they do want us to save this. And we need to use the save as command. Now we could hit save up here, and because we have not saved this yet, it would automatically display the save as window. However, they would like you to use the file command. So we're going to click on file, and this takes us into backstage view. When you first come into Word and you select blank document, you are in backstage view. Okay, until you select blank document and get to the application window. We go in here quite often to print or to save or to adjust settings. So what we're going to do now is we're going to click on Save As. And we're going to select a location for the document. You can see that by default, it wants to save mine on OneDrive. But I'm going to actually have it go into the documents instead. Now, I'm still going to have it go on OneDrive. You can feel free to save this wherever you want. If you're on campus, you're probably going to want to save it on your Q drive. If you're at home, you either want to save it to OneDrive or to your regular document folder. So if the location you want to save to isn't here, click on Browse. Okay, because that will open up a window and it will allow you to choose the location. Okay, so we've got OneDrive that you could save to. Otherwise, underneath your username, you would have a document folder there as well. Now, what I always tell students or recommend, doesn't really matter to me where you save it as long as you know where it's located. What I recommend doing is putting all of your work into a folder and label it CIT100, because that way you know exactly where to go for your assignments. So I'm going to put them into CIT100, and not only am I going to have a CIT100 folder, I'm going to have another one that I'm going to call Word Section 1. And let me open that. Okay, so this is where I'm going to save my document to. And then I'm going to know exactly where to go so I can turn this in. Now, as far as the name, we're going to call it 1-FCT Travel Package. Okay, now, once we save, you'll notice up at the top that we have the name 1-FCT Travel Package.